You're listening to Just, stories about the people working to build thriving communities rooted in justice. I'm Jes Averhart, co-founder of Black Wallstreet Homecoming.
And I'm Rob Shields, executive director of the Recity Network.
All right, look, so here's why we're here. We're here to get proximate. We're here to listen. We're here to process. And we're here to help you process.
But here's what we're not going to do. We're not going to be preachy because we don't have all the answers, and we will never make you feel like an outsider.
Keeping with the theme of sharing, we always want to acknowledge the whole person, and that starts with our personal check-in.
Let's do it.
Okay, all right.
I hope that makes the actual podcast this time.
One day it will.
For our listeners don't know, Rob does the whistle, or he does his own interpretation of the intro, which is,
I do.
Our actual intro is like a total gem. It's like amazing.
But
Rob, your version is something else.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I only sing to an audience of one, but it's I got 100% positive feedback. And actually, I will sell it as I was preparing to ask you how you're doing, Jes. Do you know the song that came into my mind? This is going to be super incriminating. It's like every time we're picking back up where we left off, and I'm like, that Backstreet Boys song of like, oh my God, we're back again.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. That was like, that was high school for me. I don't know when. I'm not going to ask you or our guests to date themselves on when it was for you, but
it was around that time. How about that? It was around high school.
It was in high school for me, which meant that all the guys I knew all the words, but we all pretended like we didn't know. That's
right. Oh, I love that. I love that. Yeah. That is, all my friends were the same, like Backstreet Boys, and they could name them, right?
They could name them. We could be on trips back from a baseball game in a bus, and everyone could start singing it though. Like and so anyway, that's way too much.
It's ironic because I did go down the Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, and Jessica Simpson's husband, whatever group he was in.
Nick Lachey, 98 Degrees.
98
See, now you're quizzing me, and I'm look at me. I got it.
I just went down that road last week with some friends trying to like just reminisce and remember. And I was like, I'm more like H-Town and Jodeci, but I was really trying to get there with folks. I was like, but anyways.
I think if our listeners were deceived in any way that I was cool, we're shattering that illusion now. So that's completely gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
I think they already knew that was already gone. You're being honest. That's helpful. Jes, give us a little check-in. We want to get right into our guest here soon because she is amazing, and I cannot wait for our listeners to hear her story, the work that she's doing, all the things. So quickly, to share a little bit about we got to check in though. How are you doing these days?
Yeah, I just enjoy this. I loved our intro. This is giving me so much life. I'm getting a lot of fun energy around it. I don't know. Last week, I got to say, probably was just like a blur. So many things are happening. There's a lot going on in my own actual professional life. I'm doing a lot of business these days, and we hosted some folks in from Georgia. It felt like things were normal for the first time as we actually met people in person, socially distanced, and had a tour of the city and took them around. And it just felt normal again, except that we were all separated, couldn't hug, and had masks on. Other than that, though, it felt like I saw people and it felt great. So, but it feels a little blurry, and I'm just grateful to be here and meet our guest today. I don't have a clever check-in, unfortunately, today. I think that's probably normal though, right? Like it's not always just going to be like sizzle pop, which is my favorite thing now. Sizzle pop. It's my favorite term. Sometimes life isn't sizzle pop. Sometimes life is like grind and go. That's kind of how I'm feeling these days.
There we go.
Get it done and do it with excellence, but make it to the next day. So that's where I'm at today. To all our listeners who are like waiting for something I ain't got, not this week, next week though.
Well, if they need that, they can rewind and talk about the Backstreet Boys and 98 Degrees, right? We gave something for everybody. I already gave my personal check-in. I'm skipping mine because I already revealed way too much personal information.
You really did, though. Really did.
I really did.
I wish we could insert a little Backstreet Boys.
I'm definitely going to ask Tamika who her favorite, I don't know if she has a favorite boy band, but I think I'm going to ask her to say, like, if she could choose that pop music of choice, what is it? That might be mine.
I love it. I can't wait. Let's do that.
Speaking of Tamika, can we now? I almost want to like drum roll. I've never drum rolled a guest before, but that's how excited I am today. She deserves a drum roll. She deserves a drum line, people. Like, you have no idea how amazing this woman is. I can't say enough things. Tamika, are you on the call? Can you hear us?
Hello, everybody. Yes, sir. I am here. Hi, Rob. Hi, Jess. How are you all today?
Hey, girl. Hey, we're good.
Hey, girl. Hey.
We're good. We are good. And I think hopefully we'll put you on the spot here in a second, but I'm gonna give our listeners a little bit of a background of who you are, and then we're gonna jump straight into this thing, and we're gonna turn the microphone over to you. So for those of you who don't know, Tamika Brown, founder and executive director of the Hearts program here in Durham. I'm gonna let Tamika describe it in her own words. Does amazing work working with teen moms here in the area, just providing holistic support, wraparound services, going that extra mile to make sure that her clients have everything they need to live thriving lives. Her story is inspiring. She's a Durham native. I'll let her tell you a little bit more about that also. But this is an example of a leader who is just getting after it in our community. She's doing the work. She's driven by the right things. She is so selfless. One of the most selfless people I've ever met in my life. And honestly, beyond all that, if that wasn't enough, you can never, every time you get a chance to interact with Tamika, you walk away with your day brightened and a new outlook on life. And she has that effect on, it's infectious. Her personality is incredible on top of all those things. So I just can't say enough about it, her. And I know I'm so excited for our listeners to know, even just get a little sneak peek into you, the way that I know you, Tamika. It's a privilege to have you on the podcast, and I'm just excited. So you have a longer bio, but I just wanted to speak from the heart there a little bit more. And people can get on LinkedIn for your bio, I mean, like, they can find that anywhere. But
I like it when you speak from the heart.
Oh, it makes sense, right? I didn't even mean to do that, but I just did that.
That was well tied in. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. That was not scripted, ladies and gentlemen. That was real. So, hey, before we get going, Tamika, we do personal check-ins, right, on our podcast. Before we jump straight into your story, I'd love to just do a quick little check-in with you. Tell the audience 1 or 2 words to describe how are you doing these days.
Just 1 or 2? Is that all I get? Seriously? Okay. I would have to say humbled and busy.
I love that. That sounds about right. Humble and busy.
Yeah.
Love it.
All in a nutshell. Don't have any elaboration. Yeah. Nope.
But we didn't tell him to elaborate. Rob made it so specific. 1 or 2 words.
That's right.
I didn't ask why. Yeah. So you followed the rules.
That's exactly. I was waiting for Rob to do the follow-up on. He's probably waiting for me to do it, which is the boy band. We did this whole check-in on. I don't know how we got here. Frankly, I've forgotten that fast. But we talked about boy bands in our past, and I remember now. Rob was singing the intro. He was thinking about the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah.
So do you have a favorite boy band?
Oh my goodness. I'm going to have to go with, that's hard, y'all. It's, oh my goodness. Jodeci, B2K.
B2K. Oh man.
Back.
I remember B2K.
Great.
Yes. And Marcus Houston is out on Sister right now. So I've got to Oh my goodness. High Five, H-Town.
Yes.
Oh man.
They were like,
yes. Man, I can't even remember the old school ones with Gerald Levert and his son and LGT. Yes. Yes. And look, I might be saying too much, but who sung Meeting in My Bedroom?
Yeah.
Sorry. Can't remember the group, but I remember the song.
This is fun. We need to have a whole spin-off. 90s R&B band.
I love old school. I am an 80s baby, so that's right around my era. And yes, I listened to Backstreet Boys. My cousin actually had the sheet, the bed sheets. I'm not going to call her name, but she knows who she is.
Okay, yeah.
That's commitment. That's all I'm going to say. That's a real fan right there. Okay. So I'm going to move us along because I could sit here. You've named some names. I was like, I forgot all about them. Anyway, so we can do this all day. That was tons of fun. Okay, but for our listeners who've tuned in because of the great work that you do in the community and that how you impact our community, why don't you just slow us down a little bit, right? And tell us your story, how this organization, Hearts, came to be and why.
Oh my goodness, y'all, we don't have enough time for that because my steps have been ordered my entire life. I grew up in the country of Durham, North Carolina, outside the county lines, went to Northern High School. In the midst of my high school, my career, or I had co-op, so I would leave every day and go to work at Little River Elementary School. My concentration was always family and consumer science in school, parenting and child development. So my steps have literally been ordered my whole life. This is the only job that I've ever had. Co-op, I would actually leave school midday and go to work, and in school studying child development. So in the midst of all of that, my best friend became pregnant when we were 15 years old, and she had my baby cousin at the age of 16 years old. And I saw how she was socially isolated from society, from family, as well as church. And it really, really hurt my heart at the time. I could not help her. I was 15 years old. I tried to get, her to come and stay with us, but she had a different, mindset, and, she lived a different lifestyle, but I was unable to help her at the time. So I went on to North Carolina, the best HBCU ever known to man, North Carolina A&T State University. Everybody knows that I am an Aggie. All day, every day. Let me bring my cup just beside us just for a second. There we go. Let me see. There we go. So the best HBCU, where I also studied child development and family studies. And I actually wrote a curriculum in one of my professor's class, Dr. Guy, Curriculum and Instruction. And it centered around teen moms and their children, not knowing that I was writing a vision and making it plain. Never thought that I would launch it. I literally did it for a class assignment and stumbled across the curriculum that I wrote actually when I was moving my best friend into her own place. And I was like, oh my goodness, like it hit me. I went home and I read the curriculum. I'm like, you know what? I think this is exactly what I am getting ready to do. And I moved back home to Durham and I launched it in 2013, 2014. I was a parenting and child development teacher at Hillside High School. That's how Hillside became my number one, because that's where the pilot program began. Dr. Logan allowed me to launch my vision. I took my business plan to him, or the curriculum that I had wrote in, I want to say it was sophomore or junior year in college. That was 2004 when I was at A&T. And he read it. He said, absolutely, allowed me to launch the program at Hillside and fell head over heels with it. Quit my very first year with no bank account, no LLC, no paperwork. I jumped straight on faith and spread my wings. I crashed a couple times, hit a couple of buildings, and here we are, still standing.
I love that. And that's the journey, right? The journey is to take the leap. Know that it's not always easy, that the journey, you may hit a few buildings, spin around a few times, but you did it, right? And if you rely on yourself in many ways, and certainly in your case, faith, you won't fail. You aren't going to crash and burn, right? Because you'll be lifted out of that space. It's so good.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am.
Let's dive in. We started kind of with your story of what drove you to become passionate about this. And I know that people are, always grateful for you be able to get a chance to hear just what shaped you, what drove you to get to where you are. Now tell us a little bit more about Heart specifically and what it looks like day to day, right? Talk to us more, for those of you people who don't know. Tell us about who you're serving, what the problem is that you're addressing, kind of what is the nature of the problem? People may not even be familiar with what you're up against, the challenges that you're facing, and then how is Hearts solving it? So I know that's probably 4 questions into one, but I know I know you're a pro. You're a pro, and you can you roll with the punches here.
Absolutely. So HEART stands for Helping Each Adolescent Reach Their Spark. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization that goes into the high schools, into the community, and teach teen moms and teen dads who've become pregnant between the ages of 13 and 22 with the resources and services that they need to be self-sufficient and independent. So we're a positive youth development organization, and we focus on teen moms who are in need of support and want to be the person that God created them to be self-sufficient and independent, but, is having a hard time overcoming the barriers that aligns with being a young mom, the lack of childcare due to the fact that they're unemployed, like they're teenagers, they're not working yet. So their number one goal is they're in survival mode. So they're looking for jobs so that they can provide for their child. They have chosen not to have an abortion and they want to keep their child. So they need help and they need guidance in which direction they want to go. So yeah, we're a positive youth development organization for young moms.
Tell us more about what services do you provide for these moms and dads, right? Like this was all shaped by you seeing what your cousin didn't have, right?
Right.
But you're now providing things that weren't there before. What are those things?
Oh, it's funny that you say that because a lot of teen moms who are now grown say, oh my goodness, if I had this organization when I was young, my life would have been this. Well, first and foremost, we have group sessions, and it is Hearts at Hillside as well as Hearts Alumni Phase 1 and Phase 2. So we go into the high schools because we need to make sure that they graduate. So we go into the high schools and we set up the workshops and the trainings that they need to be self-sufficient and independent. And that lines around, of course, educating them on the tools and the resources that they need, self-development with a concentration of sexual health, as well as family development, the relationship that they have with themselves as well as their children. And then, of course, the co-parenting component with the relationship between themselves and the father or the mother, so that they can provide the best environment that they need to provide for their children. And of course, financial development. Once they are working and become or obtain that career job in their career field or a livable wage, then we need to make sure that they know exactly what to do with it so that they can grow their finances as well as their family and their sustainability. We also provide one-on-one mentorship where they meet with me individually to create their plan, their life plan. And we track and make sure that they are following it, and while eliminating the barriers that are associated with whatever goal that they're trying to accomplish. For example, if they need childcare, or they need to remain in school and they don't have childcare, we make sure we provide that for them. But what's unique about our organization is they set the plan, they set the goal. We just make sure that they accomplish it. Like, I don't tell them what to do. I can advise them, or, from my experience and the best way to go about accomplishing a specific goal, but that's all on them. So that's our one-on-one mentorship. We also have our creative learning experience, but due to COVID, we have not been able to participate in that. And that's when we introduce them to a new way of living, a new way of thinking by exposing them to different activities and coping mechanisms and strategies to not only eliminate their barriers, but learn how to overcome stressful situations. We have our fatherhood initiative, which is where we focus on our teen dads, and we provide the same services for them as we do for the teen moms. And we have our Love Bug, which is our brand new baby that we just launched. We are pregnant with her or him right now. You're right. I can't make it sound that way. I don't know if I'm going to refer to it as a girl or a boy, but I think it's going to be a girl because I just love the baby girls. But we're still trying to figure that out, or we can just make it gender neutral. But it is our children's closet. Our community has taken care of our teen moms amazingly well, and they have donated all kinds of goods and everything for the moms, and we have actually developed a store, and we have put all the goods in the store, and now the teen mom has access, and the dads have access to everything they need, from diapers, wipes, formula, shoes, clothes, diaper bags, deodorant, lotion, shampoo, conditioner, anything that they can think of that they would need for the child is in that location. So, yeah.
It's just so powerful to hear you say all of it at one time. I mean, I knew all of it before this call, but I can't imagine our listeners from their perspective. If they're feeling like, man, she does it all. You're right. She does do it all, ladies and gentlemen. And she needs your support to continue doing more, right?
Yes.
What's one thing you wish more people understood about your work and the challenges that your clients are facing? I love the why of your story. It's a beautiful reason. It's a beautiful origin story around your best friend and seeing the challenges that she faced and wanting to be there and support her, but being young yourself. But being firsthand, having that front row seat in the life of a friend and a new little baby and watching those challenges. What is one thing that you just wish people would understand more and be clear on in your work?
I wish society, the world, the community could understand that I am serving children with adult responsibilities.
That's well said.
Yeah.
That's well said. And I love that you're period, dot.
Yeah.
I am serving children with adult responsibilities.
Yeah. The mindset of society around teen moms, it makes it difficult to do this job because they have been labeled as fast. They have been labeled as girls who shouldn't have gotten themselves in this situation in the first place. I need society and community to know that I am serving the individuals who are curious, who are curious about sexual health or sexual desire, should I say. Curiosity, sometimes kills the cat is what they say. And I need society to know that not all teen moms chose to be teen moms. They didn't all go out looking to have sex. It could have been a peer pressure situation. It could have been a rape situation. It could have been a curiosity situation. It could have been consensual. And I'm not taking that from them.
Right.
But don't limit your support because of the circumstances that they're in. A lot of people may support organizations who, were domestic violence or substance abuse. And just because my organization, the participants in my organization decided to engage in sexual intercourse or forced to engage in sexual intercourse or peer pressured into sexual intercourse and became pregnant doesn't make us less effective. It doesn't make us less of a person. It doesn't make, our organization less in need because of the circumstances that, the population that we serve.
Yeah, that's well said, Tamika. Thank you for that. That's really well said.
So Tamika, you've been doing this work since 2012. That's 8 going on 9 years.
We're walking into year 9. This is academic year number 9 for us.
So year 9. Is there a story looking back on those 9 years? There's a story that kind of rises to the surface for you of resiliency that would really kind of help, our listeners who may not be proximate to this issue. It has never affected their life the way it's affected yours. Stories can be powerful change agents just to really create that empathy, right? And I think that sometimes that is really a powerful motivator. Is there a particular story of resiliency that stands out to you that will really help people understand the true power and impact of your work?
Oh my goodness. I have several. Rob, you're going to make me pick one? Okay, well, can I share 2?
Of course. This is your show. You're the boss. I'm just here asking questions.
Well, I have one young lady who came to me and she was totally broken, totally distraught, living in a situation where she was in a home living with her father, and her relatives actually, it was the family home, and her relatives actually sold the home from under her and her father. And they had the option to go be homeless or to go live with the aunt, which was the sister of the father. And the sister of the father allowed the father to go, but did not allow her to go because she was pregnant. So that destroyed her heart completely. We could not talk to her without crying. It destroyed my heart completely. So she was homeless for about 16 days. The partnership with Housing for New Hope and Recity actually allowed us to be able to place her in her own home within 16 days. So that is one story that sticks out to me, that she didn't give up and she persevered, even though she was treated that way by family. That's a tough pill to swallow when your own family member won't allow you to come to their home because of your current situation. And yeah, that's tough stuff. But she was in her own home and she was doing well. And the second resilience participant, I will most definitely have to go with our Miss Angel Hope. She has been the face of our organization. She was in the ABC 11 news segment that we did with Tisha Powell. If you have not seen that, please go to our YouTube channel and check that out, Hearts Organization. But this young lady has fire and desire to be all that she could be. And she does not let anything stand in her way. And that just warms my heart when we go through the statistics in group session of what the world says that she's going to be because of her circumstances. She looks at me and she says, "No, ma'am, I will not be that." And that is her motivation. And she strives to be her very best in everything that she puts her mind to. Angel came into our organization at the age of 14 years old. She came into our organization with Gabby already in her arms. She got pregnant in middle school, and actually the last year in middle school, and had her baby girl on the first day of her freshman year in high school. And she has been with us every single step of the way. And it really shows how effective our organization is. We don't just, provide them with the services that they need and just set them free. Like, no, I serve these young ladies from the time they come into our organization to the time they no longer want to be a part. But they most definitely have to work the program. And Ms. Angel has most definitely worked the program. She is getting ready to move into her own home. And she is attending North Carolina Central University. And she is working and providing for her and her baby girl.
That's so inspiring. And I can't resist saying the last part. You floating the Aggie pride out, and then you're actually sending people over to Central, though. I mean, that seems like a...
No.
I mean,
it's only because I'm in Durham.
Okay.
It's only because I'm in Durham.
Fair enough. All right. Yeah, unconditional love, right? No matter what.
Right.
Let's pretend we have a magic wand. Okay. Don't we all just, where is this magic wand? Can I? Let's pretend we have one, and you have it, and you get to wave it over your work, over the problems and the challenges that are facing your young people or those that are funding you or whatever the issues are. You have this magic wand. You get to wave it over your organization and the work that you do. What's the one thing that you would change or fix?
Well, I've always answered this question with the $1 million. If I had this X amount of money, or if I could have one wish. So I guess this kind of falls in the same category. And if I had the opportunity, if I had a magic wand, the very first thing that I would fix is I would make sure everybody in my organization that encountered my organization, that came in contact with my organization, that entered my organization would have a touch from God.
Tell me more about that.
It would make everything all better.
What is that though? What do you mean by that? Is it attitudes would be adjusted, perceptions would change? What do you mean when you say that?
Yeah, it's undescribable. I can't. Everybody's touch from God and walk from God and faith and hope and love it's all different. But I do know that he's a healer. And I know that teen moms in my organization, they have root issues. They have root causes that allowed them to engage in this sexual intercourse in the first place. So if I could get to that root issue or that I could get to that root cause, then I know that everything else is going to be okay because they have a touch from God. He's their children. Like, we're his children. So if I could get everybody a touch from God and start that healing process, that's my magic wand would go there.
And it sounds like to me, because I'm processing what you're sharing, it's like Jes talks about mental models and just the ability to show up with the right lens. And it's almost like you're talking about, not only would you wave a magic wand over your girls, who you serve, right? So that they would see themselves as they, as the man upstairs,
as they are,
right? As they truly are, and the dignity, right? The not what the world says about them, or not what anyone says, but like who they truly are. That they would be able to look into that mirror clearly. But then also, you talked about earlier how much we would hope that people would see them for as who they truly are. Also, not with this deficit mentality, not with finding them by their actions, right? Or like Brian Stevenson says, like defining people by the worst mistake they ever made, right?
Exactly.
Which I'm not saying that our, these, your clients would even now looking back say that, because I'm sure when they look in the eyes of their beautiful children, they see how that, there is beauty. There is beauty.
That's
right. That is undeniable, right?
Absolutely.
But how important it is to show up with the right lens. Do we truly see each other and
for who we really are?
Yeah. Or are we, I don't know, distracted by the labels or the stereotypes or that cause us and prevent us from pressing in to really love each other?
That's right. Very well said.
I love that. Well,
love. It's built on. When we actually started this organization, we actually started it as Our House Resource Center. So if you ever see Our House or OHRC, you will know exactly where that came from. But the motto behind that was built on love, which is where hearts, that's where it comes from. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, anybody ever want is love, just to be loved by someone, to feel like someone in this world loves them, and God is love. So that's where it comes from.
I love it. I didn't know people tuning in didn't know they were going to be getting a sermon, here on this episode. But hey, I love it. Keep preaching, right? Tamika, as we land the plane here, you cover so much ground. You do so much for our community and our coming alongside families when they are up against so much. You are a come alongsider who is advocating for them and is fighting their battles with them. And it's such an inspiring thing. And every time I hear it, I get re-inspired. But I also know that's got to be draining work at times. It's got to be, you have to be brought low, I'm sure, at times for a number of reasons, not just because of the adversity of your clients, but, the adversity of running a nonprofit organization. It's just hard work. It's go 24/7, right? And so my question to you is what is your why? What is the fuel that keeps you going, especially on those low days, right? Because obviously those days that you talk about when you're sharing the triumphs of your clients overcoming the adversity and just the resiliency they put on display. But on those tougher days, what is that fuel that motivates you?
My fuel? Well, I have to stay prayed up, Rob. I was late today because I was actually, I was in worship, so kind of got taken away. So just to be honest and very transparent, I have to. It is mandatory because I cannot do this by myself. I don't have the energy. I don't have the knowledge of running a nonprofit. I'm learning as I go. If I can be very transparent, it's very difficult. So I most definitely know it's all God's work, and just know that he's using me as a vessel. And then I'm not doing it for my own self. I'm doing it for his glory. That's the number one thing that keeps me going and my fuel. because I can't give up on God, even though I'm not always obedient, even though I fit on him probably every week, every day, every month. Another team mom calls or another board member or Miss Kathy Chapman will not let me quit. So that's the first fuel. The second fuel is right here. That's my baby girl, and she is most definitely my why. She's watching me, so I cannot give up and quit. Even though I want to, I know she's looking at me. I want to sometimes. When it gets hard, I have to honestly say I am human and I don't want to keep going. But I know that they're watching me. And the third is my team moms. They need me. Yeah, they need me.
That's well said. That's when, for those of you who don't know, she was pointing to her beautiful, amazing daughter in a picture there. You can't tell if you're listening in, but yeah, that's inspiring. Well, tell us now. I know I'm inspired, and I already knew some of this, so I'm sure our listeners are just leaning in, and they're like, "Okay, you've done the work of I've heard this. I want to get involved." How can our listeners who want to take a step, because they've never heard about the Hearts program until this moment, and they're kicking themselves because they wish they had before, right? What do they do? Well, how can they, Jes coins it the show up moment. Give our listeners, what does that show up moment look like for them? How can they engage with your work? What's one practical step, or at least one, because I'm not going to put you in a box, boss. All right. What's one practical step they could take to get more involved in supporting you and all the amazing things that you do?
Okay. I have 3, Rob. I can't just do one. That's just isn't enough for me. Well, the first thing they can do to get involved is most definitely go to our website at www.heartsnc.org. Get involved is actually the name of the tab. Is broken down of different ways and opportunities that they can be a part of our organization. Most definitely go and subscribe to our newsletter so that when events are happening and we're serving the community, that you can come out and be a part, whether if that's just being an advocate and sharing the event, whether that is actually attending the event, showing up, coming out to support, whether that is making donations to, the organization and the cause, to becoming a sustaining donor. That will be extremely helpful. So yeah, that's how people can get involved. All of the above. Follow us on all social media platforms. Yeah.
There you go. And I love that. I'll encourage, please, our listeners, you won't be sorry. I personally subscribe to the Hearts newsletter, and it is a joy. It's one of the best emails I get every month, just getting to watch this amazing woman, this change agent in our community, just sowing seeds of hope, just really fighting the good fight. And she is an inspiration to me and so many. And I know that I speak on behalf of all the lives that you've touched, Tamika, and just saying thank you. Thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thanks.
Keep doing it. And if you're listening in, join the ranks. Become a heart sustainer.
Please.
Keep that heartbeat going, that heartbeat pumping,
please.
Right?
That's what our newsletter says. Oh, that's awesome. Go boss.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Tamika. We'll let you get going the rest of your day, but you are truly an inspiration to us, and we're thankful for you taking the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Can I close with one thing, Rob? I always like to tell the Recity story and how we became about, guys. Most definitely support Recity. They are awesome. One of those quitting moments that I had, I was actually rude to one of my homies, as well as to the Chambers of Commerce guy who sent me your way. And I have to thank you and Tucker wholeheartedly for allowing me to be in that space and not allowing me to give up. It is because of you we are still standing. So I thank God that you were there to receive my brokenness on that day, September of 2017.
Has it been that long?
Forget
oh my
it.
goodness!
It's been 3 years, boss.
It makes me feel old. You look better. You look just as the same. You look exactly the same. I feel like an old man now.
You shouldn't. We're gonna do this thing together.
I love it. All right. Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see you back at the office, right? We'll see you around.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks, boss.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to Just. In the spirit of sharing, if you like what you've heard, tell a friend about the show and give us a 5-star rating and review.
Many thanks to DJ P-Dog and producer Low Key for producing the music for our show. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Our role is to build community support for our public schools. Hundreds of volunteers every day show up to bag meals. We have to know our history in order to tackle our current systems that uphold various forms of oppression.